Check this out. You guys have heard there are riots going on. We got this story from ABC5 Eyewitness News. Sources say Washington County Attorney's Office expected to charge officer in Brooklyn Center shooting on Wednesday. So this is this woman. Her name is Kim Potter. The case was sent to the Washington County Attorney's Office to avoid a conflict of interest with the Hennepin County Attorney's Office, which works closely with Brooklyn Center's police on criminal cases. The extent of the charges will be learned tomorrow. Brooklyn Center police released body camera video that shows Officer Potter shooting and killing 20-year-old Daunte Wright Sunday afternoon. Brooklyn Center's former police chief, Tim Gannon, the police chief resigned today. This is nuts. The city's like the whole area is just falling apart. Stated he believed Potter accidentally discharged her weapon, believing she was using her taser and not her gun. Potter and Gannon resigned from Brooklyn Center Police Department on Tuesday. And you know what? I can't speak too much for this officer, Kim Potter. She shot somebody. Cops, look, I don't care who you are. You're responsible for what comes out of your gun. That's just basic, gun responsibility. I understand it wasn't intentional, or at least that's what they're claiming. We'll see how this investigation goes. But for the police chief to resign, I'm giving applauses.
Yeah.
Bravo. I think every single cop in the Twin Cities area and suburbs, they should all right now turn in their badges and walk away.
Why?
They should all resign. All of them right now, right at once.
You must be joking.
I am not. I mean it.
Why do you think they should resign?
Well, because these leftists have demanded the police be abolished. I think the police say, okay. I think, yes, absolutely. Right. Police, you're not wanted here. The activists have said so.
The logic oozes out of you.
There you go. You know what the issue is? Where are the regular people standing up and saying, no, don't do this? When the police were under threat last year, when the riots were sweeping across the state and these cities, the police were scapegoated, were insulted, berated over the actions of a few. I'm not a big fan of the police as a whole. I think they need reform. But I understand individuals, many of these cops, they're good people. They're not trying to get in between and get in politics. There's some real risks with trying to neutrally enforce the law when you've got some people saying you got to do one thing, some people saying you got to do the other thing, and then accidents happen. Some cops are really bad people. They should be held accountable. But we need police. A civil society requires police to be able to make arrests. This guy, Daunte Wright, he was wanted. Now they're reporting an aggravated robbery. So that was his warrant. Like, okay, that's a legit crime. Don't resist. If the cops are arresting you, you fight it in court. And he decided to jump in his car and scuffle it out with the cops. These cops are being treated like trash. So I say they show all of these people. They tell the people of where they live. If people here won't stand up for us, if people here aren't willing to do what it takes to empower the police to protect them, they must not want them there. So here's what I see. The loudest, the squeaky wheel, are those who riot, saying abolish the police. Rashida Tlaib, what did she say? No more policing. No more. Get them out of there. And the cops stand defiant and say, we will not stand for this. But I mean, we've been seeing even conservatives throw Blue Lives Matter flags in the dirt and step on it because the cops were enforcing these unconstitutional lockdowns. Right now, what we need are the regular people to prove that they actually want the police. If they won't do that, then as far as I'm concerned, the vote's in.
But how do they do that?
Stand up, go outside, protest, hold big rallies and say, we support our police. They won't do it, though. They will not do it. Says to me, they don't care. I really, really think most people don't care about any of this. And so my point is, what do you think will happen if the police say, blue flu, we're all sick? It will take 10 seconds for the people of these cities to call the officers personally and say, please, I beg of you, come back.
Or the department will hire a bunch of scabs and the crap officers will come in and do really crappy jobs and be violent and even worse.
What do you think is happening already?
Is that happening?
All the good cops, I should say all of them, but many of the good cops quit last year. Yeah. In Seattle, in Portland, and in Minneapolis, we saw across the country an exodus. The good cops were the ones saying, I will not be abused, I will not be a party to this, and I will not stand by while the DA, the prosecutors, allow rioters to destroy these cities, and they do nothing when we arrest them. I'm done. You got it. They voted for this. They had an election, and they voted for this. So at this point, I'm dumbfounded as the police who think they're going to be what they're doing is acceptable in a community that absolutely despises them.
I also think that we have to be careful here, though, because I think the very best cops stay for all this in the same way that some of the very best, members of the military or whatever professional branch under pressure, nurses, that they a sense of duty, which is kind of antithetical to some of the contemporary, discourse, but people who truly believe that kinship of service, of going out there and still doing it, whether for religious reasons, just moral reasons, I agree that at the political level, I agree with you. I'm surprised that, frankly, the Republican Party hasn't been more aggressive in terms of saying, hey, look, body cameras, zero-sum game. Let's get those body cameras, everyone, right? It's great, good cops, love it, great evidence, okay? What's the worst that happens? They get, locker room talk is caught in the car. But most of us in society think if this, okay, fine. But at the level of, again, Rashida Tlaib, right, who is held up as by the media, will say on one hand, well, she doesn't represent the Democratic Party. On the other hand, this great sort of new visionary for the party, having the cake and eating it. This is pretty wacko stuff.
The big issue is that these cops will arrest these extremists, the rioters, the looters. And then the DA will say, you're free to go, and release them without charge. A bunch of felony charges in Portland got dropped. And these cops are like, well, I'll just keep doing the same thing and expect a different outcome. Or I guess some of the cops are probably like, well, I know they're not going to jail, but I sure love bashing skulls. I can't imagine. So let me slow down for a minute. State police who were brought in to Portland retreated saying, we arrest these people and the prosecutors let them go. We're done. We're not doing this anymore. And I'm like, thank you. That makes sense. And then what happened was the DHS deputized state police as federal law enforcement so that when the state police arrested someone, the federal prosecutors could step in. Brilliant. No escalation of force, no military coming in. And now these people were getting prosecuted. And you know what happened? Many of the activists ran scared. I shouldn't call them activists. Activists are great. These are extremists and terrorists. They started panicking, writing blogs saying, the FBI showed up to my house. The FBI showed up to my friend's house. This is not a game anymore. The cost for the extremists when they burn down buildings is much too low. They're risking people's lives. There was active gunfire the other night in the Minneapolis area. And the cost for these people is zero. In Portland, what happened to those guys who fired hundreds of rounds from rifles into an SUV with two teenagers, killing them? The cost was nothing. And these extremists know it. They can go out, they can burn things down and nothing will happen. Well, the cost is cop will jam you up. But don't worry, your good buddy in the DA will cut you loose in 2 seconds and the cops will just shrug. The cops need to be like, I'm not going to do it. You do it.
I also think one of the great tragic, ironies here is that, the Black Lives Matter movement, trying to address, real issues at the same time, the utter unwillingness to face up to the fact that we talk about what do police officers do, for example. We've seen it, right, in the summer crime waves, Baltimore, Chicago. There was a Baltimore Sun columnist who wrote a great piece on this, I think, a year ago. The cops stop doing their job, right? That I am not going to entertain this personal risk to me, this liability, vilification, in case I get it wrong. And what is the consequence of that? Well, in some of these areas, in many of these cities where the predominant homicide issue is young black men killing other young black men, more young black men die. And as a society, then when we have Rashida Tlaib saying this, does she seriously care about the interest she's talking about? No. The facts would suggest, I would say forensically, that she does not. And making that case, you would think there would be opportunities here for young Republican mayors, independent mayors, to run and say, hey, we are going to have accountability on the part of the police. Again, that body camera issue, very well funded internal affairs departments, but at the same time, we're going to go out and try and stop criminality. And there's a racism in the sense that people wouldn't want that. Of course, most people want to be able to live their lives in safety.
You take a look at what the left tends to care about, what the media tends to report on, and it's getting just so obvious. It's mind-numbing. There's a viral tweet. I can't remember who it's from, so forgive me, but they were saying something like the media actually, sorts through all the different news stories, trying to find the one story that would cause the most hate and division, that will get them traffic and get them clicks to their website. And that fuels all of this. Then you end up with a bunch of young people who are deranged. I mean, there's a video, I don't know if you guys have seen it, where it's this guy with no shirt on the ground, just screaming and crying, Black Lives Matter, like at the top of his lungs. And I'm like, this man needs to turn Twitter off, turn off the TV, like go see a movie, go watch Birds of Prey. Maybe he'll like that one, okay? And then he'll just like, calm down, dude. The world is not ending. Things are not worse than they've ever been. But these people have genuinely gone nuts. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. If you want to see the full show, come back to this channel, youtube.com/TimcastIRL, Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., where you can leave comments and super chat, and we actually will read your comments on the show. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and if you want exclusive members-only content, segments you can't get anywhere else, go to timcast.com, become a member, and we even have full bonus episodes. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.